Hello, my name is Dawson Luya, and this is my argumentative speech. Is smoking just a personal choice? Imagine a busy urban setting. You are walking down a busy street, and you're surrounded by the smells that include coffee, exhaust fumes, and smoking products. This is just another day for some, and a health hazard that some will continuously try to avoid. Smoking has probably been the most talked about public health issue of our lifetimes. Many people, think smoking is a choice made by the smoker, a personal decision made by an adult for themselves, and that it doesn't impact others in the circle of family or friends outside of the smoker. Others disagree and believe that smoking is a personal choice, public health issue, and the effects are felt beyond the individuals and impact their families, communities, and the economy. Today I will present both sides of this debate. I will explore why some people argue in favor of smoking as a personal choice and why others point to the serious consequences of tobacco use. My goal is not to tell you what to think, but to show the complexity of the issue. To begin, we will acknowledge the belief that smoking is an individual decision. Adults have the right to make their own choices regarding their own lifestyles, including whether they want to smoke or not. Smoking is a legal behavior for those over the age of 18 or 21, depending on the country. In most states, and that's in most states and countries, and many adults weigh the risks versus benefits when deciding whether to smoke. A portion of the population smokes for stress relief. Research and surveys indicate that nicotine can create a sense of relaxation and calmness. Others smoke socially, perhaps to connect with friends or engage in a culture or of the community. We also know that some individuals might say smoking assists in controlling their weight or focusing on a task. Again, these beliefs are subjective. From this standpoint, tobacco usage is an individual's responsibility. Education rather than regulation might be the best tool for allowing people to make informed choices. Public health campaigns aimed at educating consumers about tobacco and, in the case of smoking cessations programs, and now trying to inform without limiting freedom. Those in support believe people should be informed about the risk and, as adults, choose what is best for their own lives. It is important to mention that there are some who contend comprehensive regulations could result in unintended consequences. One example is the heavier taxation of cigarettes, which could create a significant burden on low-income adults that choose to smoke responsibly. Some argue that strict regulations can simply penalize behavior instead of promoting healthier outcomes. On the other hand, smoking has consequences that extend far beyond the individual smoker. Secondhand smoke, for example, is a well-documented health hazard. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, exposure to secondhand smoke causes more than 41,000 deaths among non-smoking adults and 400 deaths among infants each year in the U.S. alone. This shows that smoking is not just a private choice, it affects everyone who encounters smoke. Moreover, smoking-related illnesses put significant pressure on the healthcare system. In the U.S. healthcare system, the treatment of tobacco-related diseases, including lung cancer, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, etc., costs well over $170 billion a year, a cost borne by taxpayers and insurance companies alike, demonstrating the impact on society. Smoking impacts future generations as well. Research shows that adolescents who have either seen tobacco advertisements or have experienced household smoking are more likely to smoke. Studies show that children who are surrounded by a smoker in the household are 2 or 3 times more likely to become smokers as teens. Smoking extends the cycle of illness and addiction by internalizing the individual's natures of smoking, so the impact of one person's decisions can extend to many others. Furthermore, smoking reduces workplace productivity due to health issues and increased sick days, creating economic ripple effects. Some argue that in addition to personal freedom, we must consider collective responsibility. Our individual choices can impact others in a way we cannot ignore. So what does this all add up to? On one hand, smoking can be viewed as an adult choice. Adults are free to choose for themselves, weighing risk and reward. Educated adult smokers may simply choose differently without limiting their freedom. On the other hand, smoking is a public issue, as the effects go beyond the smoker. Secondhand smoke, healthcare costs, influence on children and youth, and more effects show smoking does not merely affect the individual smoker, but is an issue for the public. To sum up, debates around smoking illustrate that many of the issues in our society are not that straightforward. Values such as individual liberty and responsibility to protect public health, both are important values. Yet they sometimes come into conflict with each other. And as a society, we need to recognize there are multiple parts to weigh them to find the proper balance between these values. I think both are valid parts of the discussion, particularly when it comes to smoking. I think it makes sense for us all to understand those complexities before we come to some conclusion or express our own opinion about a smoking policy. So next time you walk down that busy street, take a moment to notice the smoke in the air. It is more than just a scent. It is a symbol of debate that continues to touch our personal lives, our communities, and our future. That is my argumentative speech about smoking. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.